What you're about to discover in the next few minutes forever changed the way we view the Catholic faith. Cardinal George Pell, one of the most controversial and influential figures in the modern church, revealed 5 truths that shook the foundations of centuries of tradition. The 5th truth he revealed is so shocking that many Catholics still refuse to accept it. Stay until the end, because I'm going to show you documents and statements that few have had access to. Millions of Catholics around the world follow the Church's teachings without questioning. They pray, go to Mass, follow the sacraments, without imagining that within the walls of the Vatican, a silent revolution was taking place. But between 2014 and 2023, everything changed when one man decided to break decades of silence. This is Cardinal George Pell, where we reveal the deepest truths about faith, religion, and spirituality that have transformed lives around the world. And today, I'm going to tell you a story that seems impossible, but is documented in interviews, books, and official statements. To understand the magnitude of these revelations, I need to take you back to the beginning of George Pell's trajectory. Imagine a young Australian, born in 1941, who would become one of the most powerful cardinals in the Catholic Church. During his 76 years of life, he held positions that few can achieve: Archbishop of Melbourne, Archbishop of Sydney, and finally, Prefect of the Secretariat for the Economy of the Vatican. What he discovered during this journey changed everything. The first truth that Pell revealed was about the very structure of modern faith. In his final interviews, he declared, "Authentic faith is not blind obedience, but a personal and rational encounter with the divine." This statement shocked millions because it contradicts centuries of teaching about total submission to dogmas. Pell argued that true faith requires intellectual questioning, not passive acceptance. The reaction was immediate. Conservative theologians around the world criticized this position. The Catholic newspaper L'Osservatore Romano published articles questioning whether Pell was undermining the foundations of tradition. But as his statements continued, it became clear that this was just the tip of the iceberg. What he would reveal next would challenge even more fundamental truths. But the second truth was even more shocking. The second truth was even more disturbing. Pell revealed, true evangelical poverty is being betrayed by the obscene accumulation of wealth by the institutional church. As prefect of the Vatican's economy, he had access to the real numbers. In leaked internal documents, it was discovered that the Vatican possesses more than 5 billion euros in investments, properties, and assets. Pell declared that this was a direct betrayal of Christ's teachings on poverty and simplicity. What he revealed next challenged centuries of tradition. But the third truth shook the traditional foundations even more. Pell revealed his position on clerical celibacy. Mandatory celibacy is a human discipline, not a divine commandment, and can be modified by the Church. This statement was revolutionary because it came from a traditionally conservative cardinal. He argued that St. Peter, the first pope, was married and that mandatory celibacy was only institutionalized in the 11th century for political and economic reasons, not spiritual ones. Prepare yourself for the most controversial revelation. The fourth truth was perhaps the most courageous. Pell declared, papal infallibility is a doctrine that needs to be reinterpreted in light of reason and history. He argued that many papal decisions throughout history were clearly wrong, from the condemnation of Galileo to positions on slavery. For Pell, infallibility should be limited only to central matters of faith, not to all papal declarations. And here's the truth that few had the courage to speak. And here's the fifth and most shocking truth that George Pell revealed. Salvation is not a Catholic exclusivity. God acts through all sincere religions. This statement was so controversial that many traditionalist Catholics considered a heresy. Pell argued that the Second Vatican Council had already opened this possibility, but that the Church had not yet fully assumed its implications. For him, Catholics, Protestants, Jews, Muslims, and even people of other sincere religions could achieve salvation. To understand how revolutionary these positions were, I need to explain the context of the modern Catholic Church. For centuries, the Church taught that outside the Church there is no salvation. The Second Vatican Council, 1962 to 1965, began to change this, but conservatives resisted. Pell, paradoxically, was considered conservative on moral issues, but progressive on fundamental theology. His revelations represented a unique synthesis between tradition and reform. But you'll discover the real impact of these revelations now. Today, after Pell's death in January 2023, his revelations continue to generate debate. Pope Francis, on various occasions, has echoed similar positions, especially regarding evangelical poverty and universal salvation. Progressive theologians celebrate Pell as a misunderstood prophet, while traditionalists see him as someone who betrayed tradition. But one thing is certain: his 5 truths forever change modern Catholic debate. You know what impresses me most about George Pell's story? The courage to question truths that he himself had defended for decades. Imagine the inner strength necessary to, in his 70s, revise the convictions of a lifetime. This teaches us that authentic faith is not static. It grows, questions, and evolves. And perhaps that's the greatest lesson we can draw from his revelations. If these revelations from Cardinal Pell touch your heart, leave a folded hands and tell me in the comments which of these 5 truths most impacted your vision of faith. And if you want to continue exploring the deep truths of spirituality that transform lives, click the bell, because we have even more powerful revelations coming.